Most people on this planet have a very challenging life in different ways, particularly in these times. Because free will is a universal law of major importance, how do the overlords manage to make a discarnate soul wishing to return here into a new reincarnation cycle? An answer to this question is via karma. In Hinduism and Buddhism we learn that we get back what we give out, and based upon how we act and react in a certain lifetime determines how our next incarnation will look like. If we've done mostly good deeds, we will be reincarnated into a higher order, and if we are inconsiderate and treat others badly, we will pay for it next time we are born, and our next lifetime will be tougher than the previous one. But who is judging us in this regard, and who decides what is good and what is bad? In a universe of free will, good and bad are arbitraries. A being will eventually notice that being fair to others and showing love and compassion is a more beneficial route to take than to harm others. Although it doesn't always seem to be true, when good people are punished and harmful people are rewarded, love and compassion pays off long term. However, in a free will universe, all experiences are valuable because the Divine Feminine learns about herself through all our actions, so it's up to each individual soul which route she wants to take. But if this is true, why do we judge our actions, and again, who has taught us how to judge? One could say that we are judging ourselves through our built-in conscience, something regular people have but narcissists don't. The universe is a universe of infinite love to begin with, but love can be expressed in many ways, even in ways we consider evil. Everyone here on Earth and in the grand universe wants to experience love in one form or another. Lack of love creates misery and unhappiness, love creates joy and happiness. Even an evil person is looking for love, but because of circumstances, such a person might look for it in places that won't serve him, her or others. Although one could say that karma exists because of the law of cause and effect, it has been taken out of proportions in this reality, and as usual when this happens, it's by design. The law of cause and effect has been twisted, and this law has been used in order to keep us under control. It has been done in a very clever and self-serving way, self-serving for those who came up with the plan. You know whom we're talking about. Yes, the AIF. One of the first things that happen in the Between Life area, the BLA, is that we get a so-called life review. We see our entire life flashing by in front of us, as if we were watching it on a TV screen. Both the good deeds and the bad deeds are represented. When the flashbacks from our previous lifetime are over, our life is being analyzed by our spirit guide and/or whoever is present during the process. We get validated for our good deeds, while getting areas for improvements pointed out. Because when we cross over, carrying our fragments with us, this triggers our bad conscience, and we feel shamed and guilty for what we've done that was not optimal. We are then told that we need to improve our shortcomings in the next lifetime, and we are manipulated into believing that we now need to be on the opposite side of the coin, that is, we need to be on the receiving end of what we did to others that was in some way hurting them or restricting them. Thus, we have a purpose to reincarnate again. Because we are taught that we always need to be good and obedient, we are now eager to make amends by suffering through what our so-called victims had to experience because of us. We are told that by doing this we learn not to repeat the same mistakes again. With this manipulation tactic, the overlords leave the final decision to us. They convince themselves that no one forced us to reincarnate, we made the final choice ourselves, and thus, the overlords didn't break the law of free will. In fact, we can't live a complete life here without committing acts we regret. In this harsh environment, we often react spontaneously in order to protect ourselves, and our actions and reactions are not always in other people's best interest. Therefore, we will always have karma to complete, and we will never graduate. We mentioned in previous videos that the AIF are obligated to send graduated souls to Orion, which they did in the beginning, before they came up with the idea of distorting and manipulating karma. Then they realized that souls that were technically ready to graduate were very valuable to the overlords, so they stopped releasing them. Instead, they sent damaged souls, whom they didn't have any use for anymore, back to the Queen as payback. Nowadays, they have stopped sending back souls altogether, and their justification is that no souls graduate, all of us still have something to handle within ourselves, and therefore, we should continue reincarnate. This way, the overlords can keep all souls here in the Matrix without breaking the rules for this experiment, at least, this is what they believe. Once the discarnate soul has agreed to come back to Earth, she is stripped of her fragments and patched up, in order to become a complete soul again, and then she is shot back into a body in an environment that can benefit the soul's so-called growth. Of course, in this new lifetime, the soul will accumulate new karma, and so the cycle of birth and rebirth endlessly continues. No one is telling us that if we didn't have amnesia, and if death from aging was no longer part of the plan, we wouldn't need to go through all this. We might ask ourselves why we can't see that we are manipulated after the overlords have stripped us of our wounded fragments. Once we are an intact soul again, can't we see that we are being tricked? The reason we can't is because of our beliefs. From millennia of manipulation and abuse, we adopt certain mindsets that don't serve us and won't bring us forward on our path. It's nothing wrong with having beliefs, but we all have beliefs that are trapping us here rather than setting us free. The more of these we can evaluate, the better off we are when we exit the Matrix. We can exit without doing the work, and although we shed our fragmented parts in the process, we still keep our beliefs and belief systems, which have been adopted by our intact soul as well. Depending on how many of these non-serving beliefs we have been able to evaluate will determine how we perceive the Ka once we get out of here. With this in mind, the benefit of doing the work while we're still here becomes obvious. For example, if we believe that the universe of light, and what we normally can perceive with our five senses, is all there is, then that is all we will experience as well when we exit. In this 3D reality, everything is reversed, so therefore, we need to question everything. Although it sounds simple just to turn things around and then having the truth, it's not as simple as it sounds. We are often not aware of the beliefs we have because they always seem to have been part of our reality, and hence, we need to first discover what non-serving beliefs we have adopted and been applying, thinking it's the truth. The good news is that the overlords can't override our free will. All they can do is to manipulate and twist things around, trying to convince us that we need to see it their way. However, once we disagree to adopt their indoctrination and tell them that we're done and it's time to exit, they can't do anything else but to let us go. Still, I would not challenge this situation, there is no reason to even argue with them. Once we cross over, the best and safest way to exit the Matrix is to just aim for a hole in the grid, without paying attention to anything else or get into a conversation with any kind of being we might encounter, not even friends and relatives who might show up. Also, the chances to meet our real relatives are very small, it's all manipulation, and it's very easy for the overlords to shapeshift into becoming our parents, deceased sibling or husband, wife, etc., when in fact, they are nothing of the sort. Lastly, on this subject for now, many star systems in the Ka operate as universities. I wrote about this in the West Pinner papers. We humans, once we graduate, will be offered to become creator gods without limits and strings attached, and if we are not ready for it, we still have a chance to learn how to do it by signing up for one of the cosmic universities, located in the Orion Empire. Still, this is not a reason to be lazy about progressing while being here on Earth. Just because a soul attends such a university, if approved, there is no guarantee that a certain soul can graduate. The better shape the soul is in when exiting the Matrix, the better chance to become the creator god she might want to be. It's always up to the individual, there is no right or wrong when it comes to this, it's just a matter of choice.